It's been a full decade since we last saw a Katamari Damacy games rolls its ways onto consoles, and now Bandai Namco has finally delivered something fresh. Once Upon a Katamari marks the triumphant returns of the series, not as a remaster or remake, but as an entirely new entry that aims to capture the magics of the originals. Since the departure of Keita Takahashi, the creative mind behind the original Katamari Damacy, the franchise has gone through ups and downs. Titles like Beautiful Katamari and Katamari Forever managed to hold up the charm and quirky spirit of the series, but nothing quite recaptured that pure oddball brilliance that started it all. Now with Once Upon a Katamari, Bandai Namco seems ready to prove that the magic can roll once again. And honestly, I'd say it's worth the hype. The game begins innocently enough with the kings of all cosmos, his family, and of course our tiny hero, the prince, tidying up the royal castle. During this chaotic cleaning spree, they stumble upon a mysterious scroll. And once the chores are done, the ever-restless king, struck by sheer boredom, casually tosses the scroll into the air, only for it to unleash catastrophic consequences, wiping out the earth, moon, and stars in one careless swoop.
Into the air. With tremendous force, the scroll soared, crashing through the ceiling, ascending through the clouds, obliterating all in its path. Higher and higher it flew. Until...
Naturally, the responsibility to fix this cosmic mess is once again falls to the poor prince. Armed with the Katamari, he's tasked with rolling through the history itself, traveling across different time periods to rebuild the universe one massive ball of yarn at a time. The prince boards his trusty spacecraft, the SS Prince, and ventures through time to collect humanity essence before its untimely destructions. From the Edo period in Japan to prehistoric dinosaur age, the game gleefully expands on the Katamari universe in ways that are both bizarre and charming. The game also makes a great use of its signature offbeat presentation. Every flashback sequence is brought to life with a weirdly but irresistibly charming animation style, the kind that feels like both intentionally awkward and surprisingly expressive. It leans into that surreal low-budget aesthetic that Katamari has always worn proudly, and it works perfectly here. While the story has never really been the main focus of Katamari series, Once Upon a Katamari managed to make its narrative moments genuinely entertaining, thanks to these quirky animated cutscenes. They're funny, stylishly bizarre, and full of personality, adding an extra layer of charm to a game that already thrives on its eccentricity. It's the kind of storytelling flair that reminds you why Katamari is such a beloved cult classic in the first place. At its core, Once Upon a Katamari stays true to what fans have always loved about the series, that familiar, oddly satisfying loop of rolling everything in sight into one ever-growing ball of chaos. The main objective remains simple: make your Katamari as big as possible, yet the way it feels, that indescribably smooth and tactile satisfactions of object clinging to your Katamari with every roll, still hits just as hard as it did decades ago. However, it's not just about rolling endlessly. Some level introduce specific goals such as collecting certain items, watering patches of land, or even racing against the clock to finish a stage as quickly as possible. This mission-based variation gives the game a refreshing rhythm, adding structure without sacrificing the franchise's trademarked absurdity. The level design itself is surprisingly strong. There's a real sense of verticality, clever hidden area, and collectible placement that rewards exploration. Along the way, you can find your cousins and crowns, all while trying to hit the elusive S rank for each stage. While Once Upon a Katamari might seem like an easy, laid-back experience on the surface, it's not quite the kind of game you can mindlessly relax to. Sure, it's more forgiving than the older Katamari entries, but some objectives can be surprisingly tricky. Figuring out how to efficiently reach S rank requires planning, precision, and a touch of creativity. For completionists though, this is where the game truly shines. Its replay value is immense. Experimenting with different strategies, optimizing your routes, and mastering every stage becomes an addicting loop. Aside from the main campaign, Once Upon Katamari also introduced new modes called Katamari Ball, an online multiplayer experience that adds competitive twist to the series' classic formula. In this mode, players race against 3 other opponents to collect as many items as possible and bring them back to their spacecraft to be beamed up. When you are not busy restoring the universe, there is also a fun customization feature that lets you personalize your own Katamari. You can tweak its appearance, add quirky designs, and even play as any costume character you have unlocked along the way. It is not a deep system by any means, but it is surprisingly entertaining, especially for players who love the idea of creating their own Katamari OC and showing it off during multiplayer sessions. Visually, the game's high point remains its wonderfully weird presentation. The unpredictable and almost nonsensical visuals constantly deliver hilarious moments that fill the screen with pure absurdity. Whether it is a dinosaur breakdancing or samurai getting rolled up, it is always a delight to see what a bizarre scene will happen next. And then there's the soundtrack. While it might not completely reach the legendary heights of the original Katamari Damacy album, it still delivers an infectious energy that perfectly complements the game's eccentric tone. Tracks like the upbeat Japanese pop of Diver and Suisei Biori, or the slick Japanese hip-hop track Young Young featuring Daoko, bring a refreshing modern flair to the series. And overall, the music does not disappoint. It is catchy, colorful, and pure Katamari at heart. The only real downside in Once Upon a Katamari lies in how it handles its time travel concept. While the idea itself has a huge potential, the game puts most of its focus on the Edo period rather than exploring the other eras in depth. Some areas simply doesn't have the same level of detail, content, or creativity as the Edo stages, which feel like a missed opportunity to me. It is a bit disappointing, especially when the premise of traveling through the different points in history could have opened up so many fun and strange possibilities. Aside from that, there are hardly any technical issues to mention. The game runs smoothly on PC even when the screen is filled with hundreds of items waiting to be rolled up. The performance remains stable throughout the game, which is impressive considering just how much chaos can unfold at once. It is clear that Bandai Namco has managed to polish this entry so well, keeping that signature Katamari charm intact, while making sure the experience feels fluid and modern. In my opinion, Once Upon a Katamari is a strong entry in Katamari series, and a well-deserved revival for the franchise. It captures everything that makes Katamari special, from its ridiculous charm and creative level designs to its joyful sense of chaos, all while introducing new twists that keep it feeling fresh. Despite a few shortcomings in how the time travel concept is used, the game still stands as one of the most delightful and entertaining releases for Bandai Namco in recent years. Let me know your opinion down below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and follow Gamesuki for more video game reviews, news, and coverage.